Hello, good morning, it's Dee. I might post the previous video that I just recorded, but I don't know if it said much, so you might see two good mornings from me, but that's okay. I'm a little tired today, just feeling a little drained, lots happening, and yeah, I'm showing up. I've got an interview, a podcast interview shortly in about an hour or so. My computer isn't working, my main computer, so it's just knocked me a little bit. But you know, we proceed, we keep going, we pivot, right? I was in a call just now, and it was we were talking, just catching up about what whether we're ready for March or not, and I was explaining how I had a little bit of a challenge with my socials just because you're unable to just go live without a certain amount of subscribers or followers. And I was talking about that. And someone mentioned the importance in her situation, the importance of sharing with people. What she's doing in her business is sharing with people the importance of not being reliant on social media. And I love that because this is something I learned back in the day with MySpace, whoever remembers that. And when things crashed, especially, and Facebook as well, when things crashed back in the day, there were many of us that learned. I'd always had I'm just that person, right? I always had I'm not going to rely 100% on one thing. So I was, yeah, big in my space, right? Big into it, big on Facebook. I've been on those things, those platforms since the beginning. YouTube, we call it YT, all of these things, but I've never been wholly reliant. And this is a danger that people do because they're focusing on social media followers. They may have a big following, but they're not nurturing them and they're not able to capture their information. This even happens with people that are selling on like Amazon or whatever it may be. They're not necessarily capturing the people, their information. So they're unable to follow up with them. They're unable to build a relationship other than on the social media platforms, which is not good from a business perspective, because what it does is you're wholly reliant on a platform, and if it decides to crash, if it decides to lock you out, if it decides to crash, if it crashes and no longer, if they go out of business, if you get locked out, you're unable to communicate with your following or whomever, right? And then you've lost your business if your business was reliant on that. So I loved her saying that, and she's helping people, and so it's just so heartening. She also mentioned it happened to her, and that's how she learned. And it's like, unfortunately, that is how we learn. And I learned this, gosh, how many decades ago was it when my case did its thing? I can't even remember, but that's why. That's why even coming back to YouTube, I was stunned to find that you need a minimum of subscribers, or even on Instagram, it changed because I used to just go live whenever I wanted to, and I've never been bothered about subscriber count because the way I do things isn't based on the number of followers. Like it's quality over quantity for me, and also I have direct relationships. Like I have an email list. I've been building email lists since forever, right? And that's how one of the ways that I was able to do so well with my music business. And I know the importance of that. And then as an attorney, as a lawyer that also does looks after IP and helps people understand the valuation and assets, something that I was big on when it came to my music and my work. I'm fully aware of the importance of these things that we own, the treasures that we have, and many people aren't really maximizing them and valuing them properly. They don't realize there's such valuable assets. And then as someone who, you might not know this about me, but I do mergers and acquisitions, law, securitization of intellectual property. I don't really put it out there, but I mean, those are areas that I'm very, that I'm in, and I really understand, even down to the smallest level, that even on social media, that your followers have value, but just having them there and relying on it is dangerous because it could all come crashing down and you don't have anything and you have to start all over again. So yeah, it's just something it's coming out right now. It was just an interesting topic. I cannot wait till I can go properly live so we can have full-on discussions. I've got what's the word? It's not agenda because that's for each call, but I've got a whole list of the calls that I want to tackle, the topics I want to talk about on the lives. So if you see this, just follow support, and I will share more as and when. I'm making this video on my personal YouTube account, but I do have a law firm account as well. So if there's something of interest to you, let me know. But really, this personal account is just for me to just share and just talk about life, to talk about running a business, just talk about things, chit chat, and all of that. And then my law firm account is really about law, and that's the aim there. So keeping them very separate. But yeah, that's what happened, and yeah, it was really interesting for me. I hope you're having an incredible one. I pray that my podcast interview goes well. Already a little derailed with that computer that I don't want to use on this interview, but it's fine. I'm just blessed to have that experience, blessed to have the opportunity, should I say, to have an interview, regardless of the platform. And I'm blessed to have a spare computer, right? I count my blessings, right? So try not to be all snarky about, oh, my desktop isn't working right now. I don't have the battery. I cannot find them. I do have them somewhere, but recently moved house, so I'm not sure where my double, is it triple A's or double A's? I can't remember which, the small ones. Not sure where they are, and I'm not going to get stressed trying to look for them. I'm just going to breathe and just be thankful that I have a laptop that I can use to be interviewed with. There we are. So you have a good one, and I should have some breakfast and no coffee, no tea, no coffee, right? Yeah. All right. All the best. Be blessed. Bye.